Cornfield today in south central Kansas at Winfield. My dad and I farmed this cornfield together for one of our landlords, and I just kind of want to talk to you today a little bit about corn. I've had some questions. People just want to know like what crops are what when they drive by it on the road, and so I was just going to talk to you at least today about some corn, and so you kind of know what it is and just a little bit about the plant. So show you the field. We've already started picking this field, so this side here is obviously the plant is still need to be harvested, and this here we've already harvested it. So we've pulled the stalk through and the header chopped it up and kind of gonna let the residue go back into the ground. But if you're driving by a field and you see corn can be, you know, all different heights. This stuff here is anywhere between 6 and 13 foot tall. This is a Pioneer 2089 AML. And we just got it planted in a dry land here. It was a little dry, and this corn struggled at times because it did run out of some moisture. But just going to talk to you more or less about the plant itself. So this plant here, this is a corn plant. And so if you're looking at a plant and trying to identify it from passing car, most of the time the corn plant will have a tassel on the top of it, which is, there you can see it, and you can see the tassels out through there, and that's where the pollen is for the plant, and that's what helps produce the seed. And you can have different number of ears on a plant, but a lot of the plants in our area and for our farm, you know, we just try for one ear. You will have multiple ears at times, and there are corn plants that can flex and put more than one ear on, but in our farm we pretty much just see, you know, one ear per plant. We're going to use this one as an example. So you can see right here, this is the ear that is on that plant, and that is the only ear that we have on that entire plant. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it off. It is ready. You can see it is turned down, so it's heavy. The grain is dry, and we will check that off, and you can see it's got a husk in it. And you need to think to like sweet corn. Okay, so you buy your sweet corn in the grocery store. This is a green leaf, and you got your silks that you usually pull out. These silks here are what gather the pollen from the tassel. The pollen falls off the tassel and hits the silk, and goes onto the corn plant. So inside this husk we have, get it pulled back there, an ear of corn. And that's where all your kernels are at. Now when you eat sweet corn, it is a different type of corn than this is, what they call number 2 yellow dent corn. And you can see it's called dent corn because when it's dry, it's got a dent in the top of each one of your kernels. And so these, if you shuck your sweet corn and you pull the silks off, those are the same thing. They're just dry. Where in sweet corn it's wet. And you will have, you know, one kernel of corn grew this plant, and then it was able to reproduce multiple kernels of corn. And so that's what corn is good for. It can yield a lot of product per acre, and a lot of this corn will be used in cattle feed, and there's a ton of different uses for it. For the corn plant itself. So that's kind of how you identify a corn plant. One thing I do want to show you too, as we go back, all your corn is always planted in a fairly wider row. I mean, some people go clear to 15-inch, like narrow rows, but most of your corn traditionally is planted in a 30-inch row. And it used to be planted in a 40-inch row, and I understand the reason that is because that's how wide a horse was. So before mechanical agriculture took over, you'd have to get a horse down the row of corn, and that's kind of how they decided on 40-inch. But a lot of our corn around here is in 30s, and so you can see those rows as we walk by. So when this corn, it is ready to cut. It's about 14.5% moisture, and so that is one thing we have to watch, is we have to get the moisture down right, and so it's not too wet. You like it not to go too dry when it's ready to go. So if you have any more questions about a corn plant, hopefully you learn a little something, and next time you're going down the road, you'll know a little more about them if you see a field of them.